Greetings, I'm Solidus-Skully and welcome back to the Kingdom Hearts commentary. Now that we've had enough faffing about, now it's time for some more plot per distance travelled, in which case, well, part 2 of the Hollow Bastion saga. Again, as you might remember beforehand, we couldn't go back through the original route because now it's crawling with Heartless, as you can plainly see, even in the earliest, safest space travel route that we travelled on before, so now we basically got to enter a wormhole, or I can't remember what they call it, but basically, we're gonna warp our way around to Hollow Bastion. Don't worry, I'm not showing the entire Gummy Ship segment. Basically, we're just gonna enter the warp hole and just, well, show up at Hollow Bastion. So, whoopee! Cutting things down for convenience, and that's pretty much gonna be the precipice of this main part, really. I mean, I'm gonna be showing off what needs to be shown off. We come across a blue trinity here, a white trinity, and well, basically it's gonna be castle... Oh, I almost gave a spoilery thing for the next couple of games, but no. We're gonna be entering the castle and just sort of, well, jumping around, really, because all we're really doing here is just sort of, smashing Heartless and grabbing pills. Well, we're not doing that, we're just attacking the Heartless, climbing our way back to the top and, well, stealing the keyhole. I mean, there are a few cutscene-ish things here, especially towards the end of the part, but, heck, it's really just enemy fighting for the sake of itself, really. I mean, at this point in the game, Maleficent's pretty much cleared out, well, Riku and Ansem's Secret Darkness is gone, so basically we're just doing our mission. Although, then again, I'm pretty sure I spoiled this beforehand anyway, but yeah, we're in for a bit of a surprise as we come to learn about the origin of the Final Fantasy characters that live here. Which is pretty much something that they reveal anyway, so fuck it. But yeah, long ago as it might have been, no, the Final Fantasy characters of Squall, Leonhardt, Yuffie, Kisaragi, and Aerith... Actually, does Aerith even have a last name? It's been so long since I last played Final Fantasy VII, I can't even fucking remember. But yes, this is the world that they initially came from. They didn't come from Midgar or fucking... wherever else. They came from here. Which does actually give me a bit of pause for thought, really, because, like, I mean, do all Final Fantasy characters originate from here? Or do they also exist in several other different worlds? I mean, to give a slight spoiler in Kingdom Hearts 2, Auron from Final Fantasy X shows up in the Olympus Coliseum. Actually, so does Zack in Birth by Sleep, so... yeah, and in particular with Zack Faye, like, he was given a slightly more Olympian look compared to his appearance in Crisis Core, so... actually, no, was it Crisis Core, or was it, Dirge of no, it would have been Crisis Core. Silly me. But, anyway... I don't know. Kingdom Hearts is confusing with its placement of the Final Fantasy characters that we'll likely never really see much of again, since Kingdom Hearts now has its own extended cast to use in lieu of the Final Fantasy characters, which is saddening, but, fuck it. How much of a difference this makes now that we have our Keyblade and don't need to rely on Beast to do the fighting and the riding and the whatever. I mean, I really don't have much to say about this. This is just a Hollow Bastion. Again, this isn't the area that you need to go to, by the way. This is just me going after the Trinities and faffing about because I'm a faffer in the whapper. But yeah, as soon as we get the Blue Trinity, we're basically going back to the path that you need to follow. And in hindsight, I probably should have cut more of this out than I did, but whatever. Here's the $10 tour. I believe there is also another alternate way to get down through one of the lifts that basically lower yourself back down into the area where the Blue Trinity is, but I didn't think to do that, so fuck. And my lack of navigation knowledge shows as we're just buggering around. This was the bubble that I was meant to take, but didn't, because I am a dumbass. But I suppose in terms of anything else, I mean, with all the revelations that we now have, you know, Ansem turning evil, and the fact that, you know, a lot of people used to live in Hollow Bastion, this place seems to have a lot of history in the Kingdom Hearts series. And again, we do get to see a lot more of it as the sequels go on, but I don't know, there's like a certain air of mystique that this place has that especially in Kingdom Hearts 1 when everything was still relatively unknown and underdeveloped. I don't know, it just gives you a bit of pause for thought. Oh, and yet also another place in which you can attack the black fungus. Seem to be a lot easier to deal with here than they are in any other place. Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure you saw a bit of it in the cleanup video, but I had a fucking hell of a time trying to take care of these little Heartless. I don't know. I mean, you'll face them again in a certain other segment that I dread covering, because if I have fuck all to talk about here, I'm gonna have fuck all to talk about there, but now it is time to summon a dragon. Yes, indeed, it is Mushu! And yes, get used to this, because I'm going to be using this summon a lot. Even though it was a lot more useless than I initially thought. I mean, really, I don't have anything against Mushu as a summon himself. It's just that he feels very situational, but at this point in the game, when you're dealing with enemies with very beefy health bars, not to mention the fact that the wizards tend to spawn a lot more, which are resistant towards magic and summon attacks. Yeah, it's bit of a pain in the ass. Although, that being said, something I unfortunately didn't show off during the Kurt Zisa super boss is that, again, in lieu of using lightning attacks, you can actually use Mushu to drain Kurt Zisa's MP shield very quickly, so, yeah, kind of kicking myself for not really using that. And again, if Tinkerbell's, you know, auto-life ability is to be believed, then I suppose maybe that would also be another way to avoid, the spinny blade of death that I talked about during the Kurt Zisa boss fight. Not too sure about whether or not Tinkerbell could help during the Phantom boss fight, since, you know, that's got the Doom counter on it, but I don't know, there's a lot that... I mean, I've already long since finished the playthrough, but I kind of want to go back and experiment to see if Tinkerbell's ability actually works, because, like, I mean, if the auto-life ability counts and can counteract the Doom spell that Phantom uses on you, then that might be worth pursuing. But again, to once again bring up another piece of trivia, I believe I might actually show this off a bit later on, but yeah, I actually did get one of the Genji shield drops, I believe it's called, or was that the shield that Yuffie gives you? Yeah, basically the shields that the Heartless enemy is holding right now, the one with the dog face on it, yeah, you can pretty much give that to Goofy, in a similar case into how you can give the Wizard Staves to Donald, but I didn't get the drop this playthrough. In fact, I think we get it right here, actually. There we go. Ah, Continuity. Come on, let's show it off. And here we go. The Defender Shield. Again, the drop rates for both of these items for both Donald and Goofy are excessively rare, but not impossible. I guess maybe if you focus your efforts on grinding, or if you just so happen to get it as it drops, maybe, but I don't know. It's one of the banes of RPGs, I guess. Like, you spend hours grinding for shit, and by the time you get it, you're just fucking knackered, man. Well, I mean, unless of course you're getting some really powerful shit per your investment, but... it's all just fucking swings and roundabouts, really. Also, a nice bit of characterization here, actually. Well, somewhat, and a bit of a subtle one as well, because what do we find here? Yes, indeed, it's Belle, in the library. I guess it shows that Square Enix were doing their homework when they researched these characters. I mean, bear in mind, like, this isn't the original Beauty and the Beast world. We get to visit in Kingdom Hearts 2, but, it's weird. But again, basically all that we learn from Belle here is that the Princesses of Heart were basically just sort of shooting the shit and using their magical princessiness to hold back the darkness. But again, it's, not really like they're doing much to stop the Heartless, since we're still fighting our way through them. So I guess maybe it's holding back the darkness in a, like, world destruction kind of sense? Like, I guess... fuck it, I don't know. Anyway, this is Divine Rose, a keyblade that I'm not going to use, except for here, because, well... yeah, to be honest, I don't really find Divine Rose that useful. Like, I mean, its strength stats are pretty good, but I mean, apart from that, I just don't really see much of a use for it. Also, was there... I'm pretty sure you get a different Keyblade in Kingdom Hearts 2, but I swear to god there was like one that had like a very similar design to Divine Rose, and again, you get it far earlier in the game and it fucking counts. In Kingdom Hearts 2 anyway, so... heck. That, and I suppose the MP boost is pretty good as well. So I'd say overall, Divine Rose is a relatively balanced weapon, I guess. But yeah, this is where the editing begins, and we summon Mushu once again, because goddammit, we gotta get that continuity in there somehow. That being said though, I do actually legitimately like Mushu's summoning animation. I don't know, just has that sort of... Again, I think I might have... Actually, no, I don't think I brought it up in the earlier ones, because I wasn't talking about over the cutscene, but... Yeah, in terms of how Kingdom Hearts handles its humor, like, it has this weird balance between, like, Disney-esque, like, slapstick and, like... I guess, I don't know, anime-esque, like, situational humor, really. And I think Kingdom Hearts 1, which is probably part of the reason why people consider this to be their personal favourite in the series, not only for the simplicity of the story, but I guess for the fact that it kind of hits the right balance between both tones of being anime as fuck and charmingly Disney! And again, like, I feel like when Kingdom Hearts kind of dips into one or the other too much, it tends to lose a bit of focus, which is probably where you get the divide between people who like Kingdom Hearts 2, which did tend to go more anime than Disney, and, well, everything else, which is kind of middling here. Like, I mean, sometimes you get charming with games like, you know, Coda and shit, but then you get anime as hell with, like, 358 over 2 days. And every other game is just sort of on that sliding scale. Yeah, you really look like you're holding back the darkness there, though, then again, I suppose without a Keyblade, they ain't doing shit, so... Who knows? I legitimately wonder what Alice would have to say towards these, other princesses, like, I mean, I'm legitimately scratching my brain wondering what Cinderella, who was formerly a scullery maid, and Princess Aurora would really have to talk about. I mean, I suppose the business at hand with the darkness, but, like, I legitimately wonder what all these princesses have to shoot the shit over. I don't know, maybe it's just the fact that I haven't really seen enough to get a good feel for their personalities, but... they were written in, more discriminating times, so the fuck do I know, really? Also, it's, one of Aurora's few spoken lines in the game, like, every other time she appears in the series, she's pretty much, well, asleep, because she's Sleeping Beauty. I really have nothing else to say at that point. But we are nearly at our destination. So, let's get this show on the road. By the way, in this little segment right here, I mean, besides being the prelude to the final boss, there is also another Final Mix exclusive Heartless enemy here. And it's not called an Invisible, because that is a legitimate enemy type. But there is an invisible Heartless enemy that... I think it's the Invisible Soldier that's roaming around, and, well, basically defeat that and you get, some special synthesis material. But also hidden up here is a Keyblade, for some reason. Oathkeeper and Oblivion, keep that in mind. This is the place where we fought against Riku, and we got the Oblivion Keyblade. Almost as if a representation of our two friends. Kairi, the being of light, and Oblivion, the keeper of darkness, representing Riku. Symbolism. We are in Japan. Yeah, another annoying little attack with the wizard enemies is that basically when they're doing their little lightning attack thing, like when they flurry it around, yeah, they're pretty much in that no, you can't hit me state, which is aggravating to say the least. Again, it's not helping that magic attacks, except for stop maybe. Yeah, that's the Invisible Heartless that I was talking about earlier. Again, it's got a lot more health and it does have a propensity to disappear, I think, if you're not fast enough, so yeah. Can be a bit of a pain in the ass, but again, so long as you have your lock-on commands, you know, focused on the enemy, you should be okay, but if not, then, well, fudge. I'm pretty sure this one disappears, but I did go back. Oh no, wait, never mind. Yeah, I got the energy stone, so, yeah, that's how you get the synthesis material. And that's the end of that chapter. But again, at this point, we're pretty much facing off against... Well, not technically the final boss of Hollow Bastion, since I kind of consider Maleficent and Riku Ansem to be that, but basically a creature that I think should have been, well, a summon, because it kind of resembles something a little bit. Well, I'll be a son of a bacteria. This is the Behemoth. He might look big, he might look intimidating, but actually he's kind of easy, really. His weak spot is the horn, and basically, well, go to town on it. I will admit, due to the hit point being, well, up in its back, you do gotta climb up on it. It does have that little invincibility state where it tries to launch its attacks at you, and, well, yeah, just go to town on it, really. Not really much of a strategy, it's actually, I wouldn't say disappointing, but, well, it's not exactly the most exciting boss in spite of its size. A repeated theme that you're probably going to be seeing in the next part or two, actually, because, well, we're going to be dealing against some meaty-looking bosses, but they ain't shit, really. But thankfully, this is why we have Mushu, who, unfortunately, isn't quite as useful here, because, well, fuck. Still, I mean, I do kind of like the environment of this final segment where we enter inside the mystical realm that Ansem was experimenting with. But, this is also not the final keyhole to seal, because, well, darkness is an eternal fact of life. And yeah, I try to get up onto its back to try and blast the horn, but, doesn't work. Like, I mean, I will still say that Kingdom Hearts' targeting reticle is at least relatively accurate, but when it comes to stuff like this, it can kind of fail on the occasion, which is why stuff like thunder or gravity magic can prove to be of great use. Though, to be perfectly honest, I haven't really found an exploit, at least one that would help me in a magical sense rather than just wailing on the fuckers, so yeah. Although then again, Strike Raid never fails to make me smile. And thus the behemoth is defeated. At long last, we got the Omega Arth!
Now let's go and seal that big keyhole!
Sora, you did it.
Yeah, you go, Sora, you did it, woohoo! And again, we all recognize who that David Boreanaz's voice is, because yes indeed, it is the Final Fantasy characters. This is their homeworld as they exposit here, and well yeah, that's pretty much their world. Again, like, I mean, I know the series doesn't exclusively focus on Final Fantasy shit much anymore, but I would legitimately like to see, you know, what basis they had here, like if there was any more Final Fantasy characters that we didn't know about, like I don't know, maybe I'll point it out as the series goes on, because there were a lot of planned Final Fantasy characters who were meant to appear in these games, but didn't, and then some who appear in completely different worlds, so I don't know, it's, black. All I know is that I want Rinoa to at least appear once in this fucking series, because if not, then I will be sad. Unless, of course, the implication is that Rinoa died in this universe, and then, well, I'll be even more sad. Like I am right now. Bam, Solidus-Skully is sad. Dun 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 dun. But anyway, they're also explaining here the fact that they can never see each other again.
We may never meet again, but we'll never forget each other.
No matter where we are, our hearts will bring us together again.
Besides, I couldn't forget you even if I wanted to.
What's that supposed to mean?
Hurry! Come and close the keyhole!
Sora, good luck.
So, once the worlds begin to seal off, that pretty much means the end of our adventures. Now, at this point of the game, you can pretty much just take the gummy ship to the final level of the game, and, well, basically that'll be that. You can pretty much finish the game right off if you want to, but since we are trying to play Kingdom Hearts to as much completion as we possibly can, yeah, we've still got a little bit to do, so as you can see, we've got another world to do, we have some unfinished business at the Olympus Coliseum, and of course, well, got a few extra little tidbits to finish off before we, you know, call it quits. So, on that note, I am Solidus-Skully, keep new metal, and now we're in for more, shenanigans. Catch you next time. Bye-bye.